is for 2 days only. Due to some problem, I changed what are the date. There is a change in the date. Please go through it. Okay. So anticipate the surplus and shortage, then controlling wage and salary cost. They have to clearly control what about the cost of wage and salary, and they have to ensure that they have to utilize the resources, human resources properly. Then they have to help the organization to cope with the technological development and modernization. That is, whenever there is a change in the technological development, they have to help the organization what what to anticipate the technology, and also they have to implement the technology, and they have to provide proper training and development to the employees. Then they have to ensure the career planning of every employee of the organization, and they have to make sure that there is a succession program means they are providing with proper promotion policies to the employees for promoting to the higher positions. Then they have to ensure higher labor productivity also. Then benefits of help HRP is always they can easily create a reservoir of talent. That is, whenever the organization is need some new employees, they can maintain a reservoir of talent also, and a preparation for future HR needs. That is, they can preparing the human resources for the future needs also. That is, they have to identify what are the things they have to do for the employees, and they can prepare proper training and development to them like that. Then promote employees in a systematic manner. That is, in each and every in each and every areas, they have to identify whether there is training and development programs needed, and they have to promote the employees in the reason manner, in the correct policies. So they have to develop a promotion policy, and depends upon that they have to provide promotion. Then is about provide basis for HRD. That is, they have to provide a proper basis for human resource development, and help in career and succession planning also. That is, they have to provide proper career development to their employees also. Succession planning means they have to clearly plan to whom to promote in the near future. It must be clearly maintained in the organization. The need for HRP at macro level. Macro level means in the overall level, which we call it as macro level. So employment unemployment situation is the first one. That is, number of educated unemployed persons are there in the society. So they have to identify it, and when there is a need for human resources, they have to identify such people and provide job to them. Then technological changes, that is, day by day the technology is changing. We know there is so many changes in the society happen to them. So they have to identify the job content and job context, and they have to identify where they have to retain the employees, redeploy the employees, and redundancies regarding the employees. They have to identify the manpower needs correctly. Then regarding the organizational changes, which means that they have to identify the turbulent environment. That is, they have to clearly analyze about the changes in the environment. That is, if they are identifying changes in the environment only, they can provide better training. That is, depends upon the changes in the environment. They can adopt the changes in their organization also. Then demographic changes is also differ from one person to another person. So they have to identify it, and they have to clearly plan about human resource planning related to the demographic changes of the employees also. Then next, related to the skill shortages, which means that unemployment does not mean that the labor market is a buyer's market. So there is it audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Governmental influences, which means that You can download the material from this link. Okay, I am now discussing about. Yes, somebody is also sending the link. Discussing block 2, you can download the block 2 and you can take the what block from the particular link. So, technological changes is there, organizational changes, demographic changes, skill shortage, governmental influences. Governmental influences means what they have to identify the different working conditions. There are some government rules regarding the organization who are having more number of women employees. What are the facilities they have to provide? And if the organization is having more than 50 employees, they have to develop some recreation room like that. So many rules are related in the Welfare Act. They have to maintain it. Then legislative controls is there, that is what nowadays we cannot say that hire and fire policies are good. That is, they have to treat the employees in a decent manner, so they have to identify the changes in the labor law like that. Then only they can conduct the layoff, retrenchment like that. Then impact of pressure groups, usually we called it as unions, trade unions, politicians, etc., are the persons who are always making pressure group in the organizations. So they have to manage them properly. Then system concept is there, that is system thinking, and that is they have to evaluate about the ongoing revolution, that is what are the how they have to utilize the things properly, how they can utilize the technology properly like that. And lead time is there for completing each and every time. There must be a lead time, that is sometimes the selection process is going on like that. So they have to handle the new knowledge and new skills of the people, and they have to recruit the people who are having new skills and knowledge like that. Then determining determinants of human resource planning is mainly divided into two: external policies and internal policies. External factors and internal factors. External factors, which mainly includes, first one is about the government policy, which means that there are changes in the government policy like the labor policy, industrial relation policy, regarding the communities like that. The levels of economic development is the next external factor which is affecting the human resource planning. That is, they have to identify human resource development in the country depends. Then other of human resources is also differing. The level of technology, which means that the different types of technology is there. The level of technology always determines the kind of human resources required. And the international factors, which means that there are different international factors which affecting the demand and supply of human resources. Then next is about the internal factors of human resource planning. First one is about the company policies and strategies. That is, sometimes what the organization have to maintain the human resource policies and strategies, and they have to determine the human resource demand also in terms of quality and quantity. Second one is related to the human resource policies. Human resource policies is always related to the quality of human resources, compensation level, quality of work life, etc., which influences the human resource plan. That is, they have to identify the different policies also. Then regarding the job analysis, job description, job analysis means they have to identify the job description and job specification, that is in detail about the job and the qualities required to do that particular job. The time horizons, which means that competitive environment they are doing, that is they cannot do anything which the environment and the environment day-to-day manner itself. Excuse me. So next is about levels of human resource planning. Levels of human resource planning is about national level, sectoral level, industry level, and unit level. Like that, four levels of human resource planning is there. In the national level, which means that the central government plans for human resources at the national level, and it focus the demand and supply of human resources. It focuses the demand for and supply of human resources as a whole. Then sectoral level, which means that central and state government, and they have to formulate human resource planning for different sectors also. That is for each and every sector they have to conduct. For example, industrial sector, agriculture sector, like that. Then industry level is there. That is, they have to prepare some particular industries. That is HRP for specific industries are prepared by particular industries, like that. Then unit level, which means that in the organization there are different levels. Depends on the different levels, they have to conduct the human resource planning. Next is about process of HRP. Process of HRP is mainly divided into 5 steps: assessing human resources, demand forecasting, supply forecasting, matching demand and supply, and action planning. That's why first in the first sentence we are saying that we have to identify the demand and supply of human resources. That we call it as human resource planning. So first we can say that they have to analyze the operational plans. That is, organization, first of all they have to identify what is the overall objective of the organization, and they have to identify what is the strategic plan of the company. And the plan is always related to the technological, finance, production, like that. And the human resource planning have to be prepared, keeping all the everything in their mind. Then they have to identify what about the future plan of the organization, goals of the organization, like that. Depends upon that only they can do each and everything. Then next is about human resource demand forecasting, which we can say that demand focus, manpower gap, and supply forecast is there. Demand forecast is about the quantity and quality of human resources required. That is the need of the human resources. Manpower gap, which means that what about the gap between the demand and supply of human resources? That is, they have to identify whether there is the surplus of organization, surplus of human resources in the organization, or shortage of human resources in the but then after supply forecasting, they have to conduct the demand and supply. That is, they have to analyze whether there is any gap between the demand and supply, and if there is a what gap, they have to take proper action planning also. These are the process of human resource planning. Next is about human resource demand forecasting. Human resource demand forecasting method is mainly divided into two: quantitative method and qualitative method. Quantitative method is usually done through which point I want to explain again. What do you mean by human resource planning, or the process of human resource planning? Which topic I want to explain once more? Can you please explain it? Process of human resource planning, which means that first of all, we have to identify the organization's objectives. What is the ultimate goal of the organization, like that? Depends upon the objectives. What they have to do is about they have to identify the demand of the what human resources. What about the demand? How many employees are needed? Like that, they have to identify the demand of human resources. Then next is about they have to identify the supply forecasting. That is, depends upon the demand, how many employees are there in the organization, available to the organization. Then they have to identify the manpower gap. What is about the gap between the demand and supply of the employees? Then if there is any such gap, they have to take proper action plan. Next is about proper what human resource demand forecasting. That is two approaches are there: quantitative and qualitative. Quantitative is usually done through statistical or mathematical techniques. So the first method is about trend analysis. Trend analysis, which means that they are forecasting the employment requirements on the basis of the organizational index, and they have to identify the approaches of demand forecasting also. So they have to select an appropriate business factor. That is, what about the available predictor of human resource needs, like that they have to identify it. Second, they have to plot a historical trend of the business factor, that is regarding the number of human resources, the ratio of human resources, that is how many employees are there in the organization depends upon that, what about the productivity of the particular employees, like that. Third is about they have to compare the productivity ratio. That is for the at least of past 5 years, they have to identify the productivity ratio also. Finally, the project human resource demand out of the target year. That is, they have to identify how many of them are clearly available in the organization, like that. That is, depends upon the past. They have to focus about the future human resource requirements, like that. Next is about modeling or multiple predictive techniques. That is, several mathematical models are used for forecasting the human resources. That is for identifying the human resource needs, like that. That is, or optimization models. They can use budgets and planning analysis, like that. So trend analysis is always depends upon the past. They are identifying the past, and depends upon that they are forecasting about the future, which we can say that it is trend analysis. Then so they have to identify the employment needs. The more advanced methods, they can identify what about the interest rate, gross national product, disposable income, like that. Then is about qualitative approaches. Qualitative approaches, which means that how they have to focus the demand, like that. So first one is about expert forecast. Expert forecast, which means that they have to manage, the managers estimate future human resource requirements, their experiences, judgments, like that. So the first one is about Delphi technique. Delphi technique means through the experts they can focus about the human resource needs, which we called it as Delphi technique. That is, Delphi technique means always they are conducting for everything they are forecasting. Usually they are using a method called Delphi technique. That is, they are maintaining a group of experts, and through the group of experts they are taking a group decision making and come to a solution. It again includes what workforce analysis, workload analysis, and job analysis. First one, workforce analysis, which means that the rate of inflow and outflow of the employees, which we call it as workflow analysis. That is, we can easily calculate the labor turnover rate. Labor turnover rate, which means that the number of employees who are leaving the organization during a period of time. Absenteeism means how many employees are absent when they are allotted a work in the organization. Then workload analysis. Workload analysis means they have to calculate the number of persons required for various jobs with reference to a planned output. That is, they have to consider the absenteeism and idle time, and both quantitative and qualitative techniques are also utilized for the accurate results also. So then is about job analysis. Job analysis, which means that they have to find out the abilities or skills required to do the jobs efficiently. So, a detailed study of jobs is usually made to identify the qualifications and experience required. That is, job analysis always means they have to identify the abilities or skills required to do the job efficiently, which we call it as job analysis. And for the job analysis, they have to conduct the job description and job specification. Job description, which means that factual statement of duties and responsibilities. That is, for doing a particular job, what are the different what duties and responsibilities they have to do a particular job, which we call it as job analysis. Job specification, which means that what are the minimum attributes required to do a particular job, which we call it as job specification. Then about human resource supply forecasting. After forecasting the demand of human resources, the next is about sources. Supply of human resources. Supply of human resources mainly divided into two: internal sources and external sources. Internal sources, which means that they can take the employees from the inside sources itself. That is, they can utilize the internal sources of recruitment. That is, they have to identify the profile for doing a particular job, and depends upon that they can identify a particular person who are there in the organization itself. That is what through the internal employees also they can fulfill the future vacancies. So the internal supply analysis is usually done with, first one is about staffing table or manning chart. That is a pictorial representation of all the organizational jobs. That is, they have to identify the number of employees, like that. Then Markov analysis is there, which means that what shows the percentage of employees who remain in each job from 1 year to the next year. That is, how many employees are there in the organization without any turnover, which we call it as, which we can calculate through the Markov analysis. Then regarding the skill inventory means overall inventory of the employees. That is, employees education, past work experience, like that. Then replacement chart, which means that it helps to derive the profile of the job holders. Can anyone please put the material link? If I share the screen, what happened is that my voice is not clear to you all. It may arise some network problem. That's why I'm not sharing my screen. But you can download the material from a particular link, so that you can go through the link. Whatever the particular material is there in the link, only I am explaining. So you can use that particular you can download this material from the link which is available in the chat box. Okay. So skill inventory, which means that what they have to identify the employee's education, their past work experience, etc. Then about replacement chart means they have to derive the profile of job holders department wise, and they have to reveal how many employees are replaced when there is a need. That is, sometimes the organization have to replace one employee with another one, so they have to identify that. Also depends upon the department wise classifications. Next is about external sources. External sources means what they have to if the organization is not ready to fill the vacancy with the internal staff, what they have to do is about, they have to go through the external resources. So external sources, what they have to identify the skill base, the potential trainability, what about the current and potential productivity level of the existing force. First of all, they have to identify the level of the existing force, then only they can do the what things that they can do for the external source. That is, when they are going to recruit a new employee, they have to identify the potentialities of the existing employees in the organization. Then they have to identify the structure of the existing workforce in term of what age distribution, skills, hours of work, like that. Then they have to identify the possible changes in the productivity, that is depends upon the transfer, promotion, absenteeism, resignation, retirement, etc. Then they have to identify the availability of the relevant skills in the external labor market, that is for the present as well as the future use. So the HR planner, they have to assess and monitor factors, and they have to identify the market value, like that. The next is about human resource gap analysis. Human resource gap analysis means with the help of the demand and supply, they can easily analyze the gap of human resources in the organization. That is, the closer the gap, the better is for the organization when it actually goes into procuring. So a comparison chart can be developed to find what is available and to what extent it can fulfill the demand forecast. That is, they have to exercise the idea of quantitative and qualitative gap in the workforce. That is, a reconciliation is also to be done. That is, the number of people to be recruited and the number of redundancies they have to maintain, like that they have to analyze it. Next is about human resource plan operative formulation. That is, organization is always working in a changing environment. So the changes or human resource requirement is always include changes continually. So changes in the product mix, union agreements, competitive actions, etc. They have to clearly give proper attention to it. And the human resource requirements, what they have to do is about they have to need to be translated into the concrete human resource plans. That is, they have to backed up by detailed policies, programs, and strategies. That is, there are different operative plans are there in the organization regarding the recruitment plan, which means that the number and type of people required when they are needed. Then redeployment plan, which means that how many employees are to be transferring or retraining in the organization. Then redundancy plan, which means that when and where the particular employees are to be retained, or when they have to give a golden handshake to them, or when they have to conduct the retrenchment, layoff, etc. Then training plan, which means that they have to indicate the number of trainees in the organization or apprentices required in the organization, and depends upon that they have to provide proper training programs also. Then productivity plan, which means that they have to identify the employee productivity or reducing employees cost and through the work simplification studies. Then retention plan, which means that they have to identify the reason for the employees turnover, why they move from the organization like that. Then they have to avoid the wastage, and they have to identify proper compensation policies also. Then control points, which means that the entire manpower plan they have to clearly analyzed, and they have to monitor from time to time. They have to take proper control points also. If there is any deficiencies, they have to take proper measures also. Then responsibilities of HR planning, which are always explained in the earlier portion, that is, they have to set the objective, and depends upon that they have to develop a manpower data, and then only they can complete the work. Then problems in HRP, that is, first one is inaccuracy, which means that sometimes the forecasting demand and supply, which cannot be 100% correct. It's only a forecasting methods, right? Second one is about employee resistance, that is, employees and their unions feel that by HRP the workload increases. So what they are doing is about they are always resisting to the change in the organization. Then uncertainties means absenteeism, turnover whenever it can be arised, and the technological changes may happen. So sometimes this uncertainty will affect the human resource process. Then inefficient information system, that is HRP, we cannot say that it is 100% reliable, because everything is done through planning. Planning is always done for future, future is uncertain. So it is not as much as correct. Then time and expenses, which means that HRP is time consuming process and expensive exercise. Time and expensive, which means that HRP is always of time consuming process and expensive one. Then guidelines for the effective human resources, which means that tailor made one, that is balanced with the balanced with the corporate objectives. Then second is about appropriate time, which means that what need and circumstances they have to identify the human resource planning process for what period they are doing it. Then adequate organization, which means that human resource planning should be adequately and properly organized, and they have to identify the top management support also. That is, before starting the human resource process, the support and commitment of the top management also to be ensured. Then participation, which means that they have to successfully analyzing about the organization whether they are participating or not. Then information system, which means that an adequate database should be developed for facilitating human resource process. Then balanced focus, which means that the quality and quantity should be stressed in a balanced manner. Next, unit 5, job analysis, design and evaluation. Job analysis means what? Systematic process of gathering information about work, job and the relationship between job. That is, for each and every job, they have to analyze, they have to gather the proper information about the work, and how, what are the things they have to do in the particular work, and what about the relationship maintained between other work group in the organization. So corporate restructuring, quality improvement programs, human resource planning, then job design, recruitment strategies, training programs, succession planning. These are very important in the case of what job analysis. So job analysis, along with that, they are providing with some basic informations. That is, job description and job specification is there. It also discussed in the last unit. That is job description, which means that what we're discussing about the what we're discussing about the factual information about the job, and job specification means the minimum quantity, the minimum specific quality required to do the particular job, which we called it as job specification. So apart from job analysis, the two concepts is also there. Job design and job evaluation is also there in this unit. So job analysis means what? Systematic process of gathering, documenting, and analyzing data about the work required for a job. That is, for doing a particular job, they have to analyze what are the things they have to do. They have to gather the proper information. They have to document in the right manner, and they have to analyze the work data also. So the data collected in a job analysis and it must be reflected on the job description. So job analysis always provides a proper picture about the particular job, and it is not about who is performing the job, not about the person who is performing the job, but they are giving more importance to the work they are doing. And the what performance manage recruitment, training, development, performance management, succession planning, these are very important in the case of job analysis also. So job analysis always include two critical main functions. That is, they have to ensure that the decisions made with the respect of HR processes, and they are taking the proper good decisions, and whether the decisions are fair and accurate. It must also to be ensured during the job analysis process itself. Then objectives of job analysis, that is, the purpose is always they have to establish and document the job related activities, and they have to analyze about the employment procedure, such as training, selection, compensation, and performance appraisal, all to be analyzed through the job analysis. And the main objective is about they can indicate the training needs, and they can put together the work group and teams also, and uh, they have to provide a basis for determining a selection plan, And for the job analysis, they have to conduct a salary survey. Salary survey means they have to analyze about the competitors and the same job which is done in that organization. What about the salary they are providing? That which we call it as salary survey. That is conduct. They have to conduct a survey related to the salary provided by the competitors, and depends upon that only they have to fix a salary of their organization. Then they have to decide the real needs of various positions to determine the and they have to analyze the input of a human relations. Then um, they have to coordinate the safety concerns also. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it audible now? Okay. Importance of job analysis. Um, Importance of job analysis is giving more importance to two areas, that is unfair discrimination. That is they did not conduct any discrimination during the job analysis or recruitment process. That is what thoroughly they have to conduct the job analysis. That is their ultimate aim is to get an efficient employee into the organization. So don't be partial during the job analysis or recruitment process. And they have to assess the applicant's ability to meet those standards. That is, if the organization is maintaining some standard, they have to ensure that whether the organization or can maintain that such ability of the employees also. Then they have to analyze. The major issue is always about comparable birth. That is, they have to identify the comparing the particular employee from one job to another job. Like that, they cannot conduct any such personal differences. That is, whether the women employee can do this much activity. Like that, it must be comparison is also becoming a very high issue. Then aspects of jobs to be analyzed. First of all, they have to analyze about the duties and task. That is what are the specific tasks they have to perform. Then they have to analyze about the duties. They have to include what the they have to think about what were the physical requirements of the organization for doing a particular job, and is there any unpleasant conditions also. Like that, they have to clearly analyze it. Then regarding the tools and techniques, second point, environment, which means that physical requirements of the particular job. That is, sometimes the extreme temperature water it will affect the job process. So they have to analyze that what any environmental factor is affecting the particular person from doing their job. Third one is about tools and equipment. That is, for doing the particular job, they have to allot with better tools and techniques. The next is about relationship. Relationship means they have to what analyze about the supervision given. Always they have to receive the supervision also. Both they have to give importance. And what about the relationship they have to maintain with the other persons in the organization or the external people. For while doing a particular job, sometimes for job they have to maintain a good relationship with the external people also. So they have to identify such group also. Third one is related to what tools and relation. Next is about requirements, which means that what are the different requirements for doing a particular job. That is the knowledge, skills, and ability of the job. For designing the particular job, they have to analyze that they have to meet the production goals, promote the job mobility. Then they have to create the entry level jobs. Sometimes the freshers will get the entry level jobs only. Then they have to remove the artificial barriers to the employment, like that. Then second is relating the classifying and evaluating the written description about the job. What are the contents they have to do? What are the information they needed relating to the job? And what are the payment they have to provide to the particular job, which they have to include it in the second process. And next depends upon that they have to conduct the recruitment. That is clear statement of the particular job content is there. Depends upon that they have to conduct the recruitment for that particular job. Then staffing, that is identification of the minimum qualification required to do that particular job, is clearly uh, get through the second process. So they have to identify that particular selection. Then or they have to select the candidate, to identify the training needs, that is identify the competition, identify the competencies required to their particular job, and successful job performance, they have to identify it. And they have to identify the organization based competencies. That is, sometimes the employees are having a good competencies, but when it is related to the when we compare it with the what happened job, sometimes the competency is not as ready. That is, the employee is having some competency, but when we compare with the job, it is not good. So they have to identify it. And the development of relevant curriculum for classroom and on the job training is also to be ensured. Then uprising performance. Uprising performance means that they have to evaluate the performance of the employees, whether the employee is having a good performance, like that they have to evaluate it. Next, the last process is about managing performance. Managing performance means if the employee is having a good performance, then what they have to do is about they have to provide proper promotion to the employees, proper reward to the employees. They have to increase the salary. They have to maintain it, proper discipline among the employees, and additional training can be provided to the employees for improving the performance. And if it is having a good performance, then they can restructure the job also, like that. Then again, what we are moving to the job design process, like that this process is going on. Then the techniques for job analysis. First one is related to questionnaire. Questionnaire is about completed by the job holders and approved by the job holder superiors, and through that they can clearly analyze that whether it is useful when a large number of jobs are to be covered or not. That is, they can clearly collect the factual information about the job, and they can cover the different areas also for the particular job, like that. So question usually include the job title of the job holder, and what about the job superior, the title, the number of staff reporting to the job holder. That is a brief description of the particular overall job and the list of the main tasks they are doing. Then they have to specify the resources controlled in the particular job. That is, in the same job itself, they have to look towards different resources needed. So they have to identify such resources also, and they have to provide better supplement of the resources also. So these are the things we can collect or face-to-face interaction between the person, which we called it as interview method. So in this process they can easily analyze about the work of a logical sequence of questions and the interviewee, and they can order it to their thoughts of the job. That is, they know what are the things they can perform. So with the help of them they can analyze that what are the things they needed and pin people down on what they actually do. That is, what are the things they are actually performing. They can analyze about it, and ensure that the job holder is not allowed to get away with the vague or inflated descriptions. That is, they have to clearly maintain a correct idea about it. A vague description is not enough for doing the activities. Then obtain a clear statement of duty description. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So job specification means what? Minimum quality required to do that particular job, which we called it as job specification. So these are using, that is, this job description and job specification are using by the organization in the recruitment and selection process, because through the specifications or description only they can decide that whether the particular employee is apt for doing the particular job or not, like that. Then training is also done, depends upon the job description. That is, they are analyzing about the job description, what are the information or what are the training they needed, and depends upon the job description they have to provide training to the employees. That is, for each and every job training is different from one job to another job. Then job evaluation for the performance appraisal for the organizational planning. That is, for everything relating to the particular job, whatever they are, whatever the activities they have done as a human resource department. For everything, the job description, job analysis, and job specification is very important. Next is about job design. Job design means, which we can also say it as a popular job engineering also, that is concerned with the product process, tool design, plan layout, operating procedures, work measurement, etc. of doing a particular job is mainly included in the job design. That is, job design mainly includes job rotation is there, job enlargement is there, job enrichment is also there. So job rotation, which means that rotating a particular employee from one job to another job, so that we can easily reduce the boredom of doing a autonomy job. That is, for doing a single job, what happened is that the employees are not at all satisfied, because they think that they cannot do another job like that. So there is a boredom from the part of the employees also. So for avoiding that, what they can do is about job rotation. That is, rotating a particular employee from one job to another job in the organization. We can easily see it in a particular bank. Those who are visiting the bank, you can know that sometimes in 1 month somebody is there in the gold session. In the next month they are shifting to the cash section. Like that, they can rotating a particular person from one job to another job. For what? For maintaining a employee in the different various position, and also for avoiding the boredom for doing a single autonomy job. Second is about job enlargement. Enlargement means horizontal expansion of the job, which means that in the same level itself they can do the job, but their job is something to be added along with their job. That is, more task or more activities are included in the single job, which we call it as job enlargement. Uh, and job enrichment means if they are identifying that a particular employee is having a very good capability, what they are is doing is about the vertical loading of the job. That is, horizontal loading means at the same level same job is added. Job enrichment means they are doing their permanent job, along with that they have to do some more job in another area, which we call it as job enrichment, which we call it as vertical loading of the job, vertical expansion, as the particular employee is having a good capability, so they are they are converting the employee into a challenging positions, that we call it as job enrichment, so that that particular employee become more accountability in their job also. Then job evaluation means evaluating the relative worth of the job, that is value of the job, which means that how much the particular job is contributing towards the organizational objective. That is what the particular job is. They have to analyze if they are not doing the job, what happened to the overall objective. If the particular job is doing, how much they are contributing towards their overall what objective. Like that they can analyze the relative worth of the job, that is the value the contributed to the organizational objective, which we called it as what a job evaluation. Next, unit 6, recruitment and selection. Recruitment and selection we discussed in lot of areas. Recruitment means what? Identifying the prospective employees and stimulating and encouraging them to apply for the job, which we call it as recruitment. Recruitment means what? Process of identifying the prospective employees, that is they can easily identify the prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for the job, which we called it as recruitment. So it is a positive action. Why it is a positive? For the recruitment and selection, recruitment is considered as the positive function and selection is considered as the negative function. Okay, why? It means that recruitment means how for they are receiving lot of applicants. For all the applicants, they are receiving every applicants. That is why the recruitment is considered as the positive function. But in the selection, what they are doing is that in the selection we are selecting the right employee and rejecting all other employees. So selection is considered as the negative function of HR. Okay. So, a positive function as it involves inviting people to apply, and the purpose is that they can get the inventory of the eligible persons. That is, they are getting lot of applicants, and they can know that there are so many eligible applicants are there in the organization. Like that, they are getting a clear idea. And factors affecting the recruitment is always about the geographical factors and the employment conditions is the main factor which is affecting the recruitment process. Then second is about the past recruiting success or otherwise is another criterion. Then policies related to the promotion within the organization is another factor. Then compensation and the benefits packages is also affecting the recruitment process. Then the process of recruitment. Process of recruitment, the first one is about preparation. Preparation means they have to invite the people to decide what type of persons they have to invite, what are the characteristics it must be included in the recruitment. uh,
Hello. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Then the next process is about the next topic is about process of recruitment. Process of recruitment is about first one preparation for recruitment. Preparation for recruitment means what they have to identify. They have to invite the people for the job. Depends upon the invitation. They can analyze that what type of people, what characteristics of people, what qualities of people are needed for doing the particular job is very important. So they have to identify the job specification for doing the particular job. Also job specifications and job description is very important in the case of preparation of recruitment. Then various elements of job specification, we can say that physical specification is there. That is what are the physical features needed to do the particular job. Then mental specification, which means that the intelligence, memory, judgment, ability, etc. needed to do that particular job. uh, then regarding the emotional and the social specifications, that is how they are working with others, what about their personal appearance, manners, emotional ability, then aggressiveness, submissiveness, like that they have to identify the leadership qualities, cooperativeness, initiatives, everything they have to identify during emotional and social specifications. Then relating to the behavioral specifications, which means that what about the higher levels of organization, higher levels of what management, they are expected to behave in a particular manner, they have to identify it and they have to do it. And formally listed, they have to kept in mind during the process of recruitment, selection and placement. That is what are the things they have to maintain it, what are the behavioral factors they are analyzing about the particular job, like that they have to think upon it. Then the sources of human resources mainly divided into two: internal sources and external sources is there. Internal sources means within the organization itself they are taking the employees. External sources means from the outside the organization they are recruiting the employees, which we call it as external sources. Some of the factors which we included in about effect of the policy on the attitude and the action of the employees, they have to identify the level of specialization required for each and every employee. Then they have to identify the degree on emphasis on the participation by employees at all levels, that is whether they are ready to work in all levels of organization or not. That is they have to collect the information about the particular employee. Then they have to identify the need and availability of originality, and initiative within the organization, and they have to identify the acceptance of seniority principle, like that. Then the methods of recruitment is there. Methods of recruitment mainly divided into three methods: direct method, indirect method, and third party method. Direct method, which means that what directly the organization can recruit the employees, which we call it as direct method. That is through the schools, colleges, like that. First one, schools and colleges, that is through the campus placement. They can directly go through the colleges or schools, and they can recruit the employees depends upon their needs. That is they are conducting the examination, they are conducting the interview between the students and the college of what job seekers, and they can take that whether the students are eligible for doing that particular job or not, like that. Then employees contact with the public, that is employees of the organization are told about the existence of particular vacancies, and through them also what they can recruit the employees, that is they can bring to their relatives, friends, etc. That is the existing sources also. That is the internal employees can refer their friends, relatives, etc. relating to the vacancies in the job, and if there is any apt person is there, they can refer them to the organization also. Next is about waiting list. Waiting list, which means that sorry, manned exhibits. Manned exhibits means the organization send their recruiters to conventions and seminars or exhibitions, fair, like that. Through that also they can recruit the right number of people. Then last one is about the waiting list. Waiting list means when the vacancies arises before the particular period. Sometimes they are getting so many applicants and they are not considered. From the waiting list also they can consider the employee, or the interview which they conducted in the earlier method, earlier vacancy. What happened is that they can select only one employee. The other employee is also, the other candidate is also very good. So when the vacancy arises from the waiting list, they can consider that person, and if he or she is still free, what they can join, like that. Then indirect method means through the what external source they are conducting, which we called it as indirect method. That is through the advertisement, like that. Advertising in newspaper, radio, then professional journal, technical journal, or through the brochure, etc., which we can say it as indirect method for recruiting the employee. So qualified and experienced persons are not available through other sources also. So advertising in newspaper can bring so many people. That is it will reach a large number of people, so that we can get a good number of candidate into the organization. Then third party method, which means that through various agencies they are getting uh, various agencies, if they are getting the vacancies, or which we called it as third party method. First one is about private employment agencies. That is the organization, if any vacancies is there, through the private agencies they will supply the employees into the organization, which we called it as private employment agencies. Then state or public employment agencies, which means that employment or labor exchanges, uh, employment or labor exchanges, what they are doing is about what they can provide wide range of services to the organization. So when there is any need of human resources, what happens is that they will help the organization to recruit the employees. Then execute search agencies, that is the complete information records are there with the um, there with the agencies, so that through the agencies also they can recruit new employees into the organization. Then executive search agencies, that is recommended persons. There are some recommended persons or employment executives which they can recommend a particular employee into the organization. Then in doctrine seminars for college professors, that is they have to discuss the problems, and they can arrange various persons of one's own community or regions. What we can say, through the college professors, the visits and banquets, sometimes they are favorably impressed, so that they can refer the particular person into the organization. Next is about friends and relatives of the present employees. That is also again mentioned there. That is the present employees can refer their friends and relatives into the organization. Then relating to the trade unions, trade unions can also refer some employees into the organization. Then professional societies are there who are providing with the employees. Then temporary help agencies are providing with the labor forces. Then casual labor source are there, so they can through the employment gate, factory gate or employment office, they can recruit the employees. Deputation means for another resource, for another sources they can utilize the employees, like that. Then selection process is considered as the negative function of human resource management, because from the recruitment they are selecting only the right employee into the organization. All other employees, all other candidates are rejected during the selection process. So we can say that selection is a negative function. So selection process is there. First one is about preliminary interview, then application form, Second interview, testing, work history, references, physical examination, recommendation, interview with the supervisor and employment. Initial screening or preliminary interview means here they are not discussing anything about the what anything about their job. They are just discussing about the personal details about the particular employee, which we call it as initial screening. After that, they are providing with a blank application form, which they are collecting about their personal details as well as the job experience details like that, which we called it as application scrutiny. That is, after getting the blank application form, they are providing with what um, the detail. That is, they can go through the blank application form, and in the next process they are scrutinizing the blank application form of the employee. That is, they can identify the educational qualification, work experience, references, etc. Then they have to conduct the different types of test, selection test for taking the employee. For each and every employee, for each and every employee, that is, depends upon the job, the test may differ from one job to another job. There are different types of tests like achievement or intelligence test, aptitude or potential test, personality test, interest test, etc. So achievement or intelligence trust, they can measure the job knowledge of the particular employee, and they can also conduct the bus sample test also. Then aptitude or potential ability test, they can analyze about the mental test of the particular employee, that is their intelligence quotient. Then regarding the mechanical aptitude test relating to their mechanical work, then they can identify about the psychomotor or skill test, that is the person's ability to do a particular job can be measured through this particular test. Then they have to conduct the personality test, that is relating to the emotional reactions, maturity, their characteristics, more their motivation, their interpersonal relationship, like that they can easily analyze. That is, they can identify the objective test, self-sufficiency, self-confidence. Then they can analyze about the projective test, which we can say it as a standard stimuli, that is how they are depending upon the values, motives and personality. Then they have to analyze about the situation test, which we can say that how they have to react in a particular reaction situation, like that. Then interested test, which we call it as how they have to discover in a particular areas, a person's area of interest, and they have to identify the different kind of work that will satisfy them also. Then, what are the precautions in using the selection test? That is, they have to identify the norms and the source of reference, the warm up sessions they have to conduct. It must be validated in given organization, and the test must be weighted in selection. Depends upon the test only, they have to take the employee also. That is, if it is necessary for the particular job only, they have to conduct the test. And whatever they are conducting, it must be impartial one, and depends upon the test only, they have to come to the final decision also. Then next is about interview. Interview means the face-to-face interaction between the employee, which we called it as interview. That is, a preliminary interview must be conducted in the first time, but here they are not discussing anything about the job. Just they are discussing about the personal details of the particular employee. But the actual interview takes place only at the time of job interview. That is, they have to discuss in detail about the quality, quantity, the skill, ability of a particular employee in this type of interview. So an interview is a conversation with a purpose between one person and one side, and another side, or persons on the other side who are having an employment. So there are three purposes are there, is that they have to obtain the maximum information, and the interviewee have to give the information about them, and also they have to provide motivation to the employee. So it is usually, we can say that it is the appraisal of personality by obtaining relevant information about the prospective candidate. That is, through the interview, the particular employer will get enough information about the candidate also. So there are different types of interview conducted in the organization, depends upon each job. First one is about informal interview, which means that it takes place anywhere. That is, the manager in the personal department, they can ask any few questions like a name, place of birth, previous experience, etc. That is, it is not a planned one, but they have to conduct such interview just for the sake mode, like that. So a friend or relative of the employer may take a candidate and they can go through the informal interview. Then second one is about formal interview, which means that they have to create a formal atmosphere, and there must be a well structured questions for the interview, and there is a former interviewer is there for conducting the interview also, and the time and place of the interview must be allotted to the person before conducting the interview also. Then planned interview. Planned interview is also a formal interview. It must be carefully planned, and they have to take a plan of action that is devoted to each candidate, and the type of information they have to collect through the interview. It must also to be clearly planned in advance. Then patterned interview. Patterned interview is also a type of planned interview, that is to a high degree of accuracy, precision only they can conduct such interviews, and there are a list of questions they have to clearly prepared, and the interviewer goes through the list of questions and asking to the persons one after another. That is, the same question is not repeating to the next person. A patterned interview is conducting. Then non-directive interview, which is means that like the interviewee speaks their mind freely. That is, they can speak about their abilities, qualities, skills, etc. That is, they are selling themselves to the interviewers. Then depth interview means they are conducting a depth interview relating to their candidate's background. They want to know about their job experience, educational qualifications, their special interest in different areas, how far they will take the risk, how far they will maintain the stressful situations, like that they have to identify the stress interview. Also, they are identifying the stress behavior, that is, they are giving a particular situations and how they are behaving in the work pressure, like that they are identifying it. And group interview, which means that a group of interviewees are joined together, and they can all the candidates are brought together and they can be interviewed, and they are analyzed that how they are leading the discussion in the proper manner without what giving a negative opinion to one another. Then panel interview. Panel interview means a lot of interviewers are there, and the panel of interviewers is conducting the interview. Then interview rating is always about, the first one is about physical makeup, that is the health of the particular employee, the physique, the age, appearance, bearing, their speech during the interview. Then attainment relating to the occupation, education, and the experience of the particular employee. And then this about intelligence, that is what about the basic and effective behavior. Then special attitude, which means that written and oral fluency of the particular employee, about their numeracy, about the organization ability, administrative skill, etc. Then relating to the interest, they have to identify the intellectual ability, practical ability, physical ability, then social ability and artistic ability. Then relating to the disposition, they have to identify the self-reliance, nature, motivation, acceptability. Then circumstances, they have to identify the domestic and the social background and experience, and they have to identify, this is also called the seventh point plan, that is, they have to identify the organization. From organization to organization, it may differ from one another. From one job to another job also, it may differ from one another. Then limitation of interviews. First one is about subjective judgment cannot be happen. Sometimes prejudices may happen. Sometimes the interviewee can say their dislikes or likes, like that. Then another prominent is about dominant appraisal of the entire personality may happen during the interview. Then the interview's experience is also very important. That is, a close association between the some personality is very important in the case of interview. And next is about, some managers believe that they are good at character, and the different methods they are allotting, and they are using their ability. Sometimes it may go wrong. Then qualities of a good interviewers, we can say that knowledge of the interview is very important. They have a clear idea about the knowledge of the job and the things they are doing. Then they have to identify the emotional maturity, stable personality, like that. Then sensitivity of the interviewer's feeling, they have to identify it. And about the mental and the physical stamina of the interviewer is also to be analyzed. Guidelines for improving the interview, first one is about there must be a definite time schedule must be there for conducting the interview. It is not in a hurry process. Then in-person approaches should be avoided. Then necessary element of privacy must be there for conducting the interview. Then the interview should listen carefully to what the applicant says and information collected, and it should be carefully what recorded for the immediate action also. Then physical examination is not needed in all case of the job. Sometimes only it is needed. That is, sometimes a fitness certificate is what enough for doing the particular job. So they have to identify the fitness of a candidate for the job concerned. They have to discover the disabilities also, and they have to prevent the employment also of those suffering from some contagious diseases, like that. And what they have to analyze about the physical handicaps, etc. That is, through the physical examination they can identify about the medical history, their height, weight, general examination, what about the skin, like that. Then checkup of blood pressure, heart, examination of chest and lungs, everything can be done. Then reference check, which means that they have to what the applicant must give a reference check to the organization, so that they can what inquire about the employee to the persons who are referred. Usually the candidate may give one as their what academicians who teach them in the college or schools. And second one is about if he or she is having a previous experience, their previous employer can be considered as their reference. Then from these process only the organization can come to a final decision, which we called it as the selection process. They have to select a right employee. And the next unit is about socialization and mobility. 1 minute break. Unit 7, socialization and mobility. It's completely related to the organizational socialization. So socialization means refers to the process by which persons acquire the knowledge, skills, and disabilities. And a disposition that make them more or less able members from their society. Can you hear me?
Ma'am, actually, I can hear. Is there any presentation running? Actually, I'm not able to see any presentation in this.
Actually, I'm taking the IGNO PDF itself, but if I am
Okay.
sharing the PDF, what happened is that my voice is breaking. I can't take the class correctly. That's why I
Okay.
didn't share my screen. You can download the material which is available in the chat box.
Okay.
I will post it once more so that you can
Okay.
download the PDF from there. Okay.
Okay, madam. Okay. One more query, madam. The classes are scheduled during the working day. So, is it will be like this for this summer, or it will continue like this?
There is a schedule, and as per the
Yeah.
schedule only as I can take the class. I think in these 3 days we completed 3 classes, and 2 more classes is there for MMPC002. It's on May 7th and 9th.
Yeah. Okay. All the classes will be on the working time only, right?
I think it's so. That is for the ODL mode. It's only for the working day.
Okay. 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 Understood, madam. Thanks.
So socialization means what we know that the behavior of the human resources. That's the thing which we mentioned in the socialization. That is from the early childhood also. Some behavior are there in the mind of the child through the parents or their school, like that. So that which we call it as, that is the persons acquiring such knowledge from the society, which we call it as socialization. Okay. If any employee joined in the organization, they have to acquire the knowledge, the values, attitude, behavior of that particular organization. And what they have to do is that the new employee acquires such knowledge, and they have to adapt with that particular knowledge, and they have to adapt the knowledge, and they must be implemented that knowledge in the organization only. So in the complex societies, what happened is that there is a rapid technological and sociological changes happen. So what they have to do is that they have to socialize the young child to all the future roles. That is, we have to train them for acquiring the future knowledge itself. So adult socialization is also very important. New organization, they are ready to become uh, what they have to identify the boundary, and depends upon that only they have to go through it. So socialization process, which we called it as, each and every individual, they have their own value, belief, etc. And organization, the process of learning and adapting the new expectations and requirements from the organization, which we called it as organizational socialization. This particular module is not so important when compared to the recruitment and selection. Just you go through the self concept and organizational socialization, not so important while I am discussing. I think better we can go through block 3. You can take the role of organizational socialization, that is, as an human employee. Diagram is there, multiple roles of an employee. Who is an employee, which we can say that is a subordinate, accountant, consumer, club president, worker, golfer, specialist, staff person, advisor, father, husband, stockholder, follower, committee chairman, leader, and more activities are done by a person. Like that, a multiple roles must be played by an employee. So manager, in the manager perception, his own role is there. They are perceiving the employee's role and the perceiving the manager's role are seen as an employee also. In the concept of employee, there is a perception of his own role is there. His employee's perception of manager's role is there, and also perception of the employee's role are seen by the manager. How the manager is seen by him, like that they have to think upon it. And the manager is also think how the particular employee will see us, like that. Then status and socialization is also very important. If a particular employee is working in the organization, they think that they will get a status in the society. For maintaining a good status also, they are having a good position in the organization, so they are working more, like that. So status and socialization is also very important. Then the next process is induction. It's very important. Induction means introducing a new employee into the organization, which we call it as induction process. That is, every organization have to conduct an induction program. That is, they have to introduce the new employee into the organization. They have to give a brief history about the organization, the product they are handling, like that. And the significance of the job must be explained. The necessary requirements, they have to necessary information about the job must be explained. The structure of the organization and the functions of various departments must be explained to them. Then they have to explain about the employees on department and what about the job and how he fits into the organization. And they have to explain about the HR policy and the sources of information. Then they have to analyze about the company policies, practices, objectives, etc. Then they have to analyze about the terms and conditions of services, amenities, etc. Rules and regulations, they have to follow grievance procedures, social benefits, opportunities, promotion, transfer, etc. These are the main things they have to discuss in the terms of induction program. That is, apart from the job training, they are providing induction program relating to the rules and regulations they have to maintain in the organization.
हाँ क्लेम नंबर बताइए
So an induction program.
1 2
Sumit, can you please mute your mic, Sumit?
2 5 3
Sumit,
Ma'am, I think you can mute him if you have that.
क्या क्वेरी है ये
I
आपके
can
पास
mute him.
हाँ है हाँ तो फोटो है तो आप एक बार मेल कर दीजिए मुझे पीडीएफ में कन्वर्ट करके इसे हाँ ये क्लेम नंबर लिख दीजिएगा
Sumit,
right now not required right now your claim is under verification process okay our team verifying your document if anything we require we will mail you
I think the RC Trivandrum can help me.
क्या मेल आया वही तो मैं आपसे जानना चाहता हूँ हम्म
and delete him.
हाँ ये केवाईसी के लिए है केवाईसी रिमाइंडर है ठीक है आपने वहाँ पे अपना आधार कार्ड वगैरह लगाया हुआ है ना ऑलरेडी
Okay. An induction program usually includes 3 steps. First one is regarding the general orientation by the staff. That is, they are giving general information about the company, the history, operations they want to perform. And next is about the general specific orientation of the job supervisor. That is, they are introducing the department they are going to work, the location where they are going to work, what are the different practices they have to do, what are the customs they have to follow, what about his work environment. Then follow-up orientation have to be done. That is, this is conducted within 1 week to 6 months of the initial induction. That is, as a foreman or specialist, they have to analyze about how far he or she can accept the particular new environment. So the purpose is to find out whether the employee is reasonably well satisfied with him or not. So they can conduct a personal task, guidance and counseling efforts, and they can remove the difficulties which is experienced by the newcomer in the organization also. An outplacement, which means that refers to the in-house help provided by the organization during the transition phases. That is, while they are facing any problems, they can provide counseling, training, retraining, skill upgradation, um, like that, different things they can provide it. Then placement within the organization, which we called it as the organization, they are providing better career planning. Through the career planning, the organization can provide better placement in the organization itself through providing better higher responsibilities to the employees. So that they can improve the organizational effectiveness, they can maximize the employee efficiencies, they can enable and they can handle the different process, changing process itself. Then mobility. Mobility means organizational activity, how they are coping with the changing organizational requirement. And what about the change in the organization structure, how they can fluctuate in the organization product, how they can introduce new method of work, like that. Here, it mainly includes promotion and a transfer. Demotion is also come under the mobility. Promotion means what? Promoting a particular employee. That is upward movement of a particular employee from the present position to the higher position through greater responsibilities, higher status and better salary. That is, they can recognize the employee's performance and commitment and motivate him towards the organization better performance. They can develop the competitive spirit of their employees, and they can acquire knowledge and skills of higher level jobs. They can retain skilled and talented employees into the organization. They can reduce discontent and unrest also, and they can utilize more effectively the knowledge and skills of the employees, and they can attract suitable and competent employees into the organization also. There are different types of promotion is there. First one is multiple chain promotion. That is systematic linkage of each promotion to several others. That is, multi-promotional opportunities are provided. That is, here they are clearly defined avenues of approach is there, and they can exit from each position in the organization also. Then up or out promotion, which means that an employee either earns a promotion through their employment. Out promotion leads to termination of the employee and they are joining some other organization in better position. That is, they are terminating the from one organization and they are joining in another organization with a higher promotion. Then dry promotion, which means that what promotion is there but no salary hike like that. Example is there, university professor is considered as the head of the department, no increase in salary, just the position changes, like that. Then promotion program and procedure, that is, every organization they have to formulate every organization need to maintain a balance between internal sources. So before if a promotion vacancy is there, try to recruit that particular vacancy from the internal employee itself. Now, or there must be a fair and clear cut policy regarding the promotion. Otherwise, what happened is that employees are not at all satisfied in the organization, they can move to the other organization. Then there must be a promotion channel that is identified and recorded on paper. That is, they have to relate the promotion with the job analysis and the career planning also. Then promotion appraisal is there, which means that the promotion of an employee is entirely dependent on his or her performance appraisal. There is a centralized record also. They have to identify the education, experience, skills, abilities, and evaluation of all the employees. And it must be recorded properly and maintained in the centralized manner also. Then there are bases of promotion. That is seniority as a basis, which means the relative length of service. They have to identify it. That is seniority basis promotion usually provided by every organization, so that they can the employees is it is very simple to understand. They can measure it, whom to promote, understand the vacancies and operate it, and easily reduce the labor turnover also. But the important problem is that the disadvantage is that if the particular senior employee is promoted to the higher position, what happened is that they are not at all ready to accept or move with the new vacancies, or they can't study the new things like that. So sometimes the organization may lack the new abilities like that. Then merit as a basis, which means that a particular employee who is having a higher skills, knowledge, and performance record can be promoted to the higher position. Then seniority come merit as basis, that is both seniority and merit can be considered for promoting an employee from one position to another position. Then demotion means as a punishment, they can lowering down the status, salary, and responsibility of the employee. It is a disciplinary measure so that they cannot violate the rules and regulations of the organization. That is, adverse business conditions may happen from the part of the employee. Incompetence happens, that is, they are always difficult to meet their standard. Then technological changes, that is, the particular employee is unable to adjust with the new changes. Then disciplinary measures, it all may happen. Before the demotion also, they have to clearly maintain the policy, and it must be properly communicated among the employees also. Then transfer means horizontal and the lateral movement of an employee from one job or one section to another section, which we call it as transfer. But the transfer, the only problem is that there is no change in the duties, responsibilities, skills, compensation, etc. of the employee. The purpose means for increasing the effectiveness. Versatility may happen, fluctuations happen, incompatibilities with the employee relations. Then sometimes placement may happen, erroneous placement may happen. So for correcting it also, they can conduct the transfer. Then relieve monotony, adjust workforce, and punish employees also, they can provide transfer. First one regarding the production transfer, which means that for meeting the company requirements, they can conduct the promote transfer. Then replacement transfer, which means that for replacing a new employee, they can provide a transfer to the employees. Then versatility transfer means for just for conducting the job rotation, for versatility position also, they can provide the transfer. Then personal or remedial measure, which means that for rectifying the mistakes from the part of the selection or training also, selection or placement also, they can conduct the transfer of the employees. Then shift transfer, which means that if the organization is having more than one shift, they can change it. For transfer also, they have to maintain a proper policy for transfer. They have to clarify the type of transfer and conditions which the transfer is made to the particular employee. They have to locate the authority, and what a transfer is made only to the subunit, and they have to identify the department where they are going, and they have to identify whether it is based on seniority like that. Then they have to decide the rate of payment to the transferee, and they have to intimate the fact of transfer of the person. Then it must be in writing and duly communicated to all the persons who are concerned with this transfer, and it is not be made frequently. It is for a particular period only, that is for the sake of transfer only, they have to provide a transfer to the employees. Then separations mainly include resignation, retirement, dismissal, suspension, layoff, or death. First one is designation, resignation. Resignation means quitting of a particular employee, that is voluntary separation from the initiated by the employee himself, not from the part of the employer, that is due to health conditions or due to marriage or better opportunities anywhere. What the employee himself can quit the organization, resign from the organization. That we called it as resignation. So while a particular employee is taking the resignation, usually what the organization HR department is doing is that they have to conduct the exit interview. Exit interview means they have to win the employee's confidence by assuring him that whatever he says will be kept strictly confidential. It will not be disclosed to anyone. Second one is about they have to explain to the employee that the purpose of the interview is to improve the organization's climate. That is, from their suggestions, they want to improve the organization climate. That's why they are conducting the exit interview. And it should be conducted by a responsible officer from the HR department. Then the interview must be conducted in the patient mode and listen sympathetically. And they have to identify the real cause of resignation. That is, what if there is any problem from the part of the organization, they have to identify it and rectify it also. So they have to clearly identify what is the cause behind their resignation also through the exit interview. And they have to assure that what a company's continuing interest in his welfare also. Second one is related to the retirement. Retirement means what? A significant milestone of an employee, separation of employee from the organization. Three kinds are there. First one is about compulsory retirement, that is a particular age, if 58 or 60, they have to resign from the organization, retire from the organization. Premature retirement, which means that before the retirement age, due to some bad health or physical disability or family problems, sometimes some person will take the voluntary retirement, which we call premature retirement. Then voluntary retirement means they are cut down its operations or closed forever, and they give an option to what they will take the lump sum amount at the time of voluntary retirement, and they are moving from the organization, and through the golden handshake they are taking the retirement. Third one is about dismissal. Dismissal means termination of that the employer is terminating the employee. Then suspension means serious suspension, serious punishment.
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Due to some inquiry, they can analyze that a serious misbehavior from the part of the employee, they can provide suspension. Suspension usually for a period of some time. It's not permanent. So suspension is usually provided for a some period of time. Then retrenchment is due to the punishment or disciplinary action or the retirement or some supernumerary removal due to the what surplus of the employee or like that. If they any need, they will take off that particular employee again. So layoff is a temporary removal of the employee from the organization. Oh, that's enough. That's all about block 2. Next is block 3. Performance and compensation management. So first unit 8, performance appraisal. Hope you are all having the PDF. May I explain block 3, unit 8? And anyone respond? May I move to unit 8?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have
So
PDF.
concept of performance appraisal. Performance means what? Employees are performing well when they are productive. So productivity is the main important thing where the organization is looked after. That is how effectively and efficiently they are achieving their goals. For accomplishing the goals, how efficiently and effectively they are working, which we call it as performance or productivity of the employees. So the cost incurred in reaching the goal is very important. So appraisal means evaluating the performance of the employee, which we call it as appraisal. So performance appraisal means systematic and objective way of judging the relative worth of ability of an employee, which we call it as performance appraisal. That is, they have to identify those who are performing their assigned task, and they have to identify the reason for such performance also. So the goals of performance appraisal means always the organization's employees are of productive one, And they should actively, if there is performance appraisal, what happened is that employees are ready to actively participate in the activities. Then supervisors, they have to need to enter performance appraisal with a constructive and a helpful attitude. And a realistic goal must be mutually set between the employer and the employees. And the supervisors must be beware and have knowledge of the employee's job and the performance also. Then regarding the objectives of performance appraisal, first one is about they can review the past performance of the employee. That is, they can compare the past performance of the employee from the that is, they can compare the employee's performance from the past to the present. Then they can assess the training needs also, how they are performing, and they can develop the human resources. That is they by training they can develop the individual performance in the next time. Then they can audit the skills within the organization. They can set the standard for the future performance of the employee, and they can identify the potentiality of promotion also. That is, the organization can set the performance of the employee, and through that they can evaluate the performance, and they can identify where they failure, why they failure, what happened to them, like that. And through the performance appraisal, they can identify in which area they have to provide improvement to the employees, like that. Somebody's mic is on. Can anyone please mute? I don't know whose mic is on. Please ensure that your mic is off. Okay. So the performance appraisal process is there. Appraisal process, the first step is the establishment of performance standard. That is, every organization, they have to set a performance standard to their employees, so that they know that what is they have to do. They have a clear cut objective that this is what they have to achieve in the organization. So first of all, they have to provide such standard to the employees. That is, it must be maintained through the job analysis and the job description. It must be a clear one. Then a second one is that after the performance standards are established, it must be communicated to the particular employee. That is, the employee must know that this is what they have to achieve. Like that, they must be clearly communicated to the employee that this is your standard fixed. That is the second step. So once the performance standards are established, it must be properly communicated to the employees. Proper communication must be done. It can be takes place only when there is a proper information must be taken over. Then the third step is about measurement of performance. That is, the actual performance is done by the employee. So they can evaluate that what whether the particular employee is performing or not, like that they can analyze it. So the third step is always about the measurement of performance. That is actual performance of the employee. It is done through the personal observation, statistical report, oral report, written report, like that. And fourth step is about the appraisal process. That is comparison of actual performance with the standard performance. That is, in the first step itself, we fixed the standard performance of the employee. In the third step, the employee is performing their actual performance. So we can analyze, we can compare it with the actual and the standard. That is, whether there is any deviations or as per the actual standard they perform or not. Like that, they can analyze it. And in the last step, what they have to do is that whether there is any gap between actual performance and standard performance. If there is such gap, they have to take proper corrective actions. That is the last step of performance appraisal. Then there are benefits of performance appraisal. First one, for the organization, they have to improve the performance throughout the organization, and they have to take effective communication. They have to clearly fix the objectives, values of the organization. They have to improve the task performed by each member. They have to identify the areas of improvement. Then they have to expectations and long-term plans have to be developed. Training and development need can be easily identified through performance appraisal. A continuous improvement and success can be created and maintained in the through the performance appraisal, and they can people with the potential can be identified, and they can provide better career development programs to the employees also. Second one, for the appraiser, they can develop an overview of individual jobs and department. They can identify where they need the improvement. Then the opportunity to link the team can be identified, and the opportunity to clarify the expectations of the employees can be easily done through it. Then they have to reprioritize the targets, and a means of forming a more productive relationship can also be maintained through mutual trust and uh, mutual trust and understanding. And for the uprising, it is a actually I can't admit any participants. The regional center is controlling everything. I think they left after 11:30. They can do everything. I'm also a member like you. They are controlling the link and everything. So increased motivation can be taken for the upprises, and the job satisfaction can be increased, and sense of personal value is there. Then performance appraisal methods is there. First one, critical incident method. Critical incident method, which means that what raters have to assess something critical to the job, that is key behaviors, how they are effectively doing the particular job, like that they have to evaluate it. And for each and every critical instance, they have to evaluate whether the particular employee can perform or not. Is there any problem, like that they have to analyze it. uh, so personality traits are clearly analyzed about it. uh, Second one is about checklist.